welcome to Your Aunties Could Never, episode 127. I'm Auntie AK and I'm here with
Auntie Farah,
Auntie Nana,
Auntie Sade,
and...
Oh, that's me, Auntie Afua.
Welcome. And as we do with our wonderful guests, we'll be getting into Auntie Afua's business much later on. How are you? How is everybody?
Good.
I'm still a bit sick.
In it, I've kind of had a bit of a cold, like
It's
lingering.
that weather changing business. I was holding out for like another heat wave. Maybe
in October. You know, an Indian summer.
Yeah,
it happens.
I've read the reports. They said
it's not happening.
There's none for an Indian summer.
What we're getting is a cold wave, not
a cold blast.
But it feels like it's gone from summer to winter and nothing in between.
I don't mind
Absolutely,
that.
I totally agree.
Come on.
No, I feel like the transition's been cool, but yesterday was kind of mild as well.
Yeah, yesterday was kind of hot.
Today's not even too bad as well.
Definitely, my nose has been cold several times.
Yeah.
I'm cold.
It's just too cold.
My whole self is cold all the time.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
That's me. I'm cold.
Yeah, I had a cold.
So the consensus is we're cold.
This is the first cold I've had this year though, so I was like, that's quite good.
Oh, you actually have a cold right now?
Yeah. Can you hear it?
Can you leave?
Exactly. No, it's just tail end.
So you're going to get it?
It's just, I don't think I'm infectious anymore.
Absolutely not.
I really don't think
Week
I'm
ahead,
infectious.
it's not the one. Alright,
Taking your oils.
let's start the show. Auntie Farah, please start us off. What's up, kid?
Okay, so I am going to do a game today, which is brought to you by it's a music trivia game, and it's brought to you by Lyrically Correct, and they are a black-owned by two couples based in America.
Ew.
It's called Lyrically Correct, as I said. And basically it's just, can you guess the lyrics or can you finish the lyrics? Auntie Nana's favourite type of thing.
Mate.
And they've got different versions. They've got like a gospel version. They've got a 90s R&B hip hop version.
Okay,
and I've
that
just
sounds like
picked
a good
it
game.
is, and I've just
Gospel,
picked a few.
because
No,
we're
I'm so good at this one. And I've picked a few questions which I like and I think are quite easy. So we'll go from there. And we're going to start with Auntie Nana.
Thank you.
What was Mary J. Blige searching for?
A real life.
Yeah. Okay. Auntie AK.
It's so easy for her.
You always say that. And you think it's easy ones too.
And you always start first. Why?
She's just nearer to me. Auntie AK, where did Jagged Edge say to meet?
At the altar, in your white dress. We ain't getting no younger. You might as well do
I feel
it.
like you should lose a point because that's not what the question was.
I should get extra points.
Auntie Sade, what did Escape tell their dude to kick off?
Oh Lord.
Their shoes and relax their feet. Party on down to the escape beat. Just kidding.
Just kidding.
Auntie Afua,
I'm gonna
what
stop this.
did Missy Elliott say she can't stand?
The rain?
That was way too easy.
Yes.
So one of you guys should check it out. I do have more questions, but we're running out of time, so I'll do this later. But check it out.
Well, that was fun.
I like that game.
I want another round.
Cool.
If I don't get it, I don't win. I'm cancelling.
Let's hope I don't embarrass myself this time.
What happened when New Edition said they called their baby's number?
Oh wow.
If someone else can get it, put your hand up. Throwing it out there.
Dial tone or something? No, hung up.
Kinda.
An engaged tone.
Busy
I'm gonna give you half a point
Okay.
because they get a clink every time. That's what happens when
What's
they dial
a
their
clink?
baby's
Dial my
number.
baby's number.
I get a clink every time.
What is a clink?
I don't know. Ask New Edition. It's a clink.
Click.
Ask you
Okay.
edition.
So half a point.
Half a point. Where did 50 Cent he was going to take you?
To the club.
No.
Where did 50 Cent say
I don't
he
know.
was
It's
going
the
to
worst
take
person.
you?
Wrong. I know. Candy shop.
That's the worst for me. Of all the rappers.
I've literally run through my head.
Where did SWV get weak?
At the knees.
There you go. That's the answer for you.
What time?
Oh, this should be your question.
Thank you.
If Nas ruled the world, what would he do?
You freak all.
That's not
That's
you.
not your question.
No, but thank
I
you.
know.
If
And
free,
you'll have
free all our sons.
There you go.
Thank
Okay.
And
Thanks,
then
Jack.
we'll have another baby.
That was my question. You asked me about 50 Cent.
Come on,
It's going to get deleted.
It's candy shop. We know candy shop.
I don't care about candy shop though.
To the club.
To the
Say
club.
yes
What's
about
the
that.
club?
that's that. On that round, you get a point, you get a point, you get a point,
Thank
you
you.
get half a point.
I also
I mean,
did
you got
say
more than
candy
half a
shop,
point, but yeah.
No, you don't.
Okay, so everyone wins then.
To be fair, we all win.
You're so competitive.
Anyway, guys, don't forget,
excuse
Auntie
me.
Shana, you
Oh,
welcome
everyone.
to the family.
I am welcoming Mariah Carey because I do love her, and although she can be controversial to most, she basically has been a legend for so many years, and it's just recently the 25th anniversary of Butterfly, which is an album which means so much to me. I loved it growing up. I loved Mariah growing up. She was like the ultimate diva. I just thought she was brilliant. And she's a producer, writer. Do you know what I mean? Like, she's so talented, and people just don't give her enough flowers, I think, personally. And also on the album, the new version of the album, there is what is it called? The Fool? No, what is it called? She's got a song with Brandy. It's a remix song with Brandy. And it's like, I can't remember what it's called now. Oh my god, this is so bad. But it's a beautiful song anyway. And like her tones with Brandy tones, like it's
I can
just
imagine that.
yeah.
There's an episode of her masterclass with her
Yes,
and Brandy.
that song.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So it's just really, yeah, it's amazing. I love Mariah.
Welcome, Auntie Mariah.
Welcome, MC.
Yeah.
Do you think Mariah would be somebody that wouldn't like to be called auntie?
It seems
Yeah, I
so, but
think
then
so.
she'd also be
She
like,
would
don't
be
call me
called
Mariah, you're under a certain age, how dare you.
And
So I feel like she'd respect her.
Miss
Miss
Mariah.
Mariah.
Yeah.
Welcome, Miss
Yeah.
Mariah.
And it's
Thank
giving
you.
Mariah
I
season,
mean, bro,
isn't it?
I don't think we
Yes.
have to say Ms. Mariah.
We don't.
I feel like we could call
I
her
mean,
Mariah.
I would. Just
I would
out of
I would,
respect.
because it's Americans and lots of
I'd
people
call her
so
ma'am.
I would call her Miss Mariah.
She'd hate mum.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
I think
Miss
so.
Miss
Mariah.
Mariah
Mariah.
was probably,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm like, yo, May. May. I really mix her name anyway.
Oh wow.
MC, I'm
Maria.
Quick way to
Yo,
get
Maria.
Maria. Oh dear.
Guys, don't forget, when you're watching the show, remember that we are on all the listening platforms. If you wanted to listen to us as well, watch us on YouTube. Don't forget we have a Patreon page. Auntie Nana, what's our prices?
Our prices are £5, £10 and £25.
For those prices, you can get lots and lots of sweet auntie talkings, extra talkings. So make sure you sign up. And if you would like to leave reviews, do so. Or that's actually not a request; it's a demand. Leave reviews.
Leave reviews.
Positive ones. By force, your auntie said so.
And just very quickly, if you do sign up to the Patreon, you can actually put in questions that you want us to talk about.
Yeah.
So,
You can help us with our
make the
content.
content yours.
Yeah.
Hi, getting into what have you heard news and culture. This is where we get into the news and culture of the past week. Auntie Nana, take it away.
Okay, so what I've heard this week, guys, there's a video circulating and it's a lady going on her morning walk and she's talking about her friend who works in sexual health clinics, and a number of young girls have been coming forward with back passage tears because they have been involved in anal sex. It is consensual, but this is a new spate of things that's happening at the moment. Just wanted to discuss this with you guys. What do you think? How can we talk to our young people about it? Boys and girls, let's discuss it. This is a new phenomenon.
It's funny that you said that, because even that you said it's consensual, I know like there are some people out there that don't quite understand what is consent and what isn't. So they may consent to have sexual
Normal
relations
sex, yeah.
with someone, but they're not necessarily consenting to have anal sex with somebody. And it happens and they're quite surprised and taken back by it, but they just think, well, they've got nothing to say because they were in that situation.
Yeah.
I don't know if everyone understands like the certain precautions that you have to take if you're going to have anal sex as well. It's not like the same thing. So I just think it's about really educating our young boys and girls as to, you know, just making sure that they're very safe and making sure that whoever you're with fully consents to everything that's going on.
I think the issue is as well is that a lot of our young people, instead of maybe going to like us mums and dads and talking about sex, consent, sexual relationships, what we do, what we don't do, what goes where, they're getting their information from online with no context, right? And no like conversation and nuance around it. And that can be really problematic because like you said, you know, anal sex and vaginal sex are different.
Yeah.
Different things need to be used so you don't end up with injuries. with anal tears. And so therefore it feels like people are not having those conversations, not knowing what works and what doesn't, and then they're ending up in these situations. So I think it works both ways, that we also have to, as parents, be open to these conversations. As much as I would rather chop off my own head. Do you know what I mean? It's a difficult conversation to have, but we have to be open to it, because I would rather that than my daughter or son ends up, perhaps son ends up in a clinic injured, rather than having the conversation with me. And also we have to say to them, like, yes, you're going to see things on TikTok and whatever, all the other social media platforms, but I'd rather that you talk to me about it than go and look at what Jonathan on the old TikTok's doing.
Yeah, definitely. I think having those conversations with our kids is it's awkward, but I know I've powered through. I had to talk to my daughter about sex and make sure she understood the ramifications. I don't think we had an explicit conversation about the different styles of sex and things like that. I'd like to think she could come to me. We have had some conversations, and she's been a bit like, Mom, but at the same time, it's like, what do? You've got to be able to have that conversation. It's this thing about this awkwardness about sex that adults have as well. And this thing, like I said, I was like dreading the conversation, but you have to make it normal. And I think that, there's a series, Sex Education on Netflix, where the mother of the lead character, I can't remember everybody's name, but she's a sex therapist, so she's very and so it's like the worst thing, but then it also puts them in good stead to really understand as much as her son can as a young person, navigating hormones and just general life stuff that happens to being young and developing that you can't avoid, but he's also very well informed, and because she is so open, it's just finding that boundary between being too open, which, what does that mean? Because society has put us in such constrained boxes of what's right and wrong. It's really hard to break them without feeling like you're doing a disservice to your child, or or breaking the rules of parenting. But because there's so much information, because the kids have so much access to so much sound bites and snapshots of what relationships are, what sex is all about, it's really difficult to protect them from the nonsense out there. So you have to just power through. You have to, especially when sites like Pornhub and stuff are rife, are like that's being sent around, and definitely those visuals make it seem like it's fun and it's easy to do.
And it's normal.
And it's normal.
They normalise it to a degree, so you think this is a sexual practice.
Yeah. I mean,
but what are we saying?
Yeah.
What does that mean, though? I mean,
I'm saying for young people in context. So if you're immature and you don't know what you're doing, and all you have is a visual reference and you don't know the prep, you don't know what you're actually doing, and you just go into something through watching porn, there isn't any context as to how you can injure somebody because they're young and they don't know. And if nobody's talking about it, it becomes a fad.
Yeah, and there is this thing as well from kids. You'll hear a lot of a lot of teenagers talking about that was their reference. Just looking at Pornhub and places like that and not understanding that there is more to it. There's intimacy, there's all these things. Them expecting it to just go in and there's like a porn show straight away. So it's difficult, but I think it's always been difficult to talk to people, because I know certainly my mum never had those kind of conversations with me. I remember being in primary school and like someone had seen their mum or someone, and it gets told that way. That's how you find out about things. So you have to try and power through it, I suppose.
I think though, at least they've got somewhere to go and to be able to do all these things, because like we often forget about the times when especially like in Christianity, for example, like a lot of people would have anal sex because to protect their virginity and that sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? And like there wasn't conversations about the difficulties around that and the potential injuries and stuff and things like that. People just didn't talk about it, and there wasn't really help and stuff. So at least they're they can go to clinics and they can get educated if they weren't previously. Obviously you don't want this to happen, but yeah, I just think you can't really curb people's sexual desires and tastes and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, I think it's not about curbing their sexual desires and tastes. It's more about educating them in how to do stuff safely
and knowing where to go without feeling uncomfortable or I don't know. Kids, young people, kids, they rebel against any kind of authority, and they don't really listen to adults at a certain point until a certain point. So it's just finding a way to bridge that gap of conversation.
That was the thing. It was like there's a number of 14, 15 and 16-year-olds, and I guess there's a conversation with sex ed in schools. Can you start introducing, like, really talking about different things than just two people kind of having sex? But actually the different forms of sex and what you need to do, and getting a bit more graphic. But I think the religious aspect of it is really important as well, because that is a thing. Like, you know, I'm gonna have anal because then I haven't really lost my virginity, and I also can't get pregnant. And it's those things where there's a difference between a girl having anal and a man, because there's more things internally that we have around there, so it's more dangerous actually. So it has to be gentle. You can't do it in a porn style, but if you don't know this,
and that's
what you're gonna do.
You know, that's what we're saying about things being taken out of context. Young people not having all the information. It's about having wider conversations as well. Like you said, taking in all these things about the health implications and everything else. And that's why, you know, it's a lot of it has to be about, you know, what are they looking at on social media? What are they looking at online and all that kind of stuff? And yeah, actually maybe we have to pick up the slack and contextualise all the conversations they're having in school and everywhere else, no matter how awkward that may be. I'm talking to myself.
I know, I'm thinking, I watched the woman and was thinking, oh my God, I have this to come with the boys. I absolutely do not want to have these conversations, but I have to. Because if they hurt a female or another man, who knows what their preference is going to be, I would feel responsible. So you have to have those combos.
Auntie Sade, what have you heard?
So yeah, my story is about The Woman King, new film that's starring Viola Davis. I'm going to try not to do spoilers as much as I can. I will try, but this is your warning, guys. If I do, fast forward or stop now. So basically the film is essentially about a tribe in ancient Nigeria, Benin, and it's about these group of women who are king's guard to the king, and they're quite a fearsome tribe and everything like that. And it's being protested at the moment because it's thought that although it's based on some part of historical fact, that it kind of skims over the issue that this tribe also sold, you know, black people into slavery. And I just wanted to know you guys' thoughts. Do you think that it is justified that it is being protested?
I don't think. See, I've read around this, and obviously we saw the film together. It didn't sit with me, but that's a different conversation. I don't think they skimmed over it. I think there was. I mean, they didn't delve into.
Can I just say one thing? Yeah. The thing is, for me, I know you're saying they did mention it, but they blame someone who was not on screen ever.
Right, I get you.
Yeah?
I get you. It's not like the film has no mention ever. There's an acknowledgement that they themselves have sold their people into slavery. And one of our main characters, again not going to do too much spoilers, tries to say that let's sell this instead of selling our people. And there is a scene where they're talking about this isn't a spoiler, you know, let's sell palm wine instead of selling our people. So, but I think that you have to have some nuance with the story that they're trying to tell. And in this instance, I think the story they're trying to tell is of a woman and a girl, and they're part of the King's Guard, and yes, they're fearsome, and they, you know, chop people's heads off every 10 seconds. But also there's a story of two women and their womanhood and reconciliation and all that as well. So I think if people really wanted a story about a tribe and they are selling their own people into slavery, I almost feel like that's a different film.
Like this isn't the film.
That's definitely a different film.
Yeah, and I don't think that is this film, and this film never said it was going to do that. I don't think it skims over it, it mentions it. It doesn't delve into it perhaps as much as people would want, but are we going to watch 6 hours?
That's what I was about to say. The problem with this is, how far are you going to go into it?
Yeah.
Because that is, for me, a whole different story. This is a story about women. This is a story about the empowerment of women and women being strong and fighting in wars where people thought that they weren't able to fight. That's what this story is about. It's not about people being sold into slavery by black Africans, because that story is across the continent. It's not just in what was Nigeria. What is what is it? Benin. It's not just there. It's like. I don't think that they completely ignored it. If they hadn't mentioned it at all, then we'd have a problem. But they mentioned it, and they mentioned it more than once, because the main character, that was her whole thing. We shouldn't be doing this. And they showed the repercussions of when they did sell people into slavery. So I don't think that, for me personally, it doesn't take away from the story. I don't feel like it needs to be protested. I feel like it's a deflection maybe onto other things, and trying to back us up against each other once again.
Yeah.
I personally think that they told the story that they were set out to tell, and telling a story of black people selling black people is a different film altogether.
Yeah. It's so... Yeah, I think... I had so much to say and I've lost my train of thought. But I don't think it's a film to be protested, and I want to understand what the protests are. What they're actually... I mean, I've read some stuff.
Who is it that's protesting?
But this is...
Yeah, I'd like to know who started the protest. Is it people...
Go on.
Because if it was sort of descendants of
slaves,
that tribe, or descendants of slaves that were sold by that tribe, then I can hear what they're saying.
But the problem is about being descendants of slaves who were sold by that tribe.
It's so many people.
And that could be me. I don't know. That's the whole point.
I think people take issue with it because the fact is it's based on true events, basically, and it's not telling the whole truth. So Lupita done a documentary about this. She was actually supposed to be in the film, and she pulled out because of the documentary that she done. And like in it, she kind of goes through that. She's looking at the Kingsguard and like looking at their glory and what they've done, and then finds out that they've done this as well. And she asks the woman, who is I think a direct descendant, like how can you celebrate this in such a way, knowing that do you know what I mean, that they've also committed these kind of atrocities too. And her thing was, well, you have to forgive and forget.
I don't
know what I mean.
And that's in the documentary.
So I can understand why people, doesn't matter if they're descendants or not, can find issue with it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But there's also, there's a saying that somebody had about not all fingers are the same length, and that was in response to Africans' involvement in slavery. So it is like actually, it's layered. Loads of people was involved in different ways. Yeah.
That's right.
But who has benefited the long?
And I always think about slavery and Africans selling people into slavery is that I don't believe they had any idea whatsoever what they were actually selling their people into. I think if they had known, this is what you're selling. I don't know, man. I am saying this is my opinion. I would like to believe that if they had known what they were selling their people into 400 years plus of torture, because let's call a spade, that's what it was. It was torture, being taken away from their homelands, never to return, never to have their name, never to have rights, those sort of things. I don't necessarily feel like they would have been up for that shit. And the problem the thing is as well that you have to remember, they were all at war with each other, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I'm not justifying slavery at all, but slavery there's been different types of slavery throughout centuries. There has been different types of slavery.
And it still exists
today. Yeah? The slavery that the white man enforced on the blacks was totally different to what was being done on the continent. It wasn't the same. So
I think it's the same thing. I think we can't trivialize Africans' involvement.
No, not at all.
And that they did know a lot of the people that they were capturing was not their own.
Yes.
They were considered
that was their justification,
and they would pass
war.
it on. But there's so many different ways that Africans got to the Americas and the Caribbean. It's not just being sold, it's being captured, it's bartering. There were so many different routes. And so as an African in the continent who has ancestors that probably were involved in some way, but where was it? We weren't all in it in the same degrees, and we all didn't benefit in the same ways.
Yeah.
And so I think we have to, if we're going to do slave stories, let's tell all of them.
I think there's room, because again, it's like, how long is the film going to be? I think we're not used to having the autonomy to tell these type of stories, especially as being the victors rather than the victims. So there's all these nuances, and unfortunately, because we've been at a deficit with content about us and our history, everyone wants everything packed into one story. That's just not Hollywood. I have had conversations about the Hollywoodization of this narrative, and I understand people protesting. It's just down to every individual protester. What are you protesting in, and what's the level of your understanding? Because the conversations I have been having with some people who are descendants of enslaved are saying, it's out of order, I'm not watching it because Africans sold us.
But did they watch 12 Years a Slave though?
And so my point is that...
Did they watch Roots?
So my point is that if you're saying that Africans sold, do you know, as we've discussed, do you know the levels of which Africans sold, how and why and where? Do you know what they were up against? Do you know whether the Westerners that came had their whole tribe or their whole life on the line? Were they just greedy people that just wanted money? Did they understand what they were getting their people into? There's so many different nuances that we actually don't know the ins and outs. And there's a certain thing about humanity, like humans, as we see today, are pretty good, evil, bad. We're complex characters. So are we saying that there's a conversation that we need to explore is, are we saying that Africans who got involved in slavery for whatever reason, are they inherently evil, bad people that have done something that the humans today would never have done? So anyone who's saying that you sold me, are you saying you would never, in whatever situation you were in back then, would never have sold? Or are you saying we have a special essence that that we should have known better? Basically, are we placing Africans in those 1700s, 1600s, 1500s, whatever, on a special pedestal where they are above humanity to have done better than humans in general? That's a question to ask.
Yeah, I don't think, what I'm taking from it is like, I don't even know if it needs to be like that super deep. I just think it's just like the mistelling of what's actually happened and being honest about it also as well, and not blaming someone off screen, not blaming someone that has nothing to do with the narrative, like being honest about it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's just like with like the Jeffrey Dahmer series on Netflix at the moment, that kind of thing. It's just like they've just made it into like almost like romanticized it, to be honest. Do you know what I mean? And like, it is good, it's a good piece of work, do you know what I mean? It really is, but at the end of the day, like, people were hurt, and I think that there can be a level of insensitivity that is produced when you're making something that's ultimately entertaining.
I think that's not take away from the focus that at the end of the day, it's not like Africa as a continent did well out of slavery. Let's not act like let's not act like the ability to trade people remained with them. It didn't. You know, the Europeans went and they conquered Africa. They colonized Africa. Yeah.
Not all of Africa,
but a lot of it. So let's not act like that didn't happen. A lot of people that are protesting, I'd just be very interested to know who it is that are protesting.
I think go on.
I was just going to say, I also think that like you was talking about us telling our own stories, I think there's an element here of actually, and this may not land well, but actually, not when we are telling our own stories, we don't always want to talk about slavery. We would like to look at the other side. Yeah. And I think with this film specifically, yes, it's completely Hollywood glamour all over it. But like I said in the beginning, this is a story about women. It's a story about womanhood. It's a story about recovery and reconciliation. And I think, yes, okay, people will protest a bit. People will protest anything and everything. You cannot please everyone. Not everyone's going to like this film. Not everyone liked Black Panther. Not everyone's going to like the next one. Yeah. Not everyone likes Neighbours. Do you know what I mean? It's over now, which is really sad, and that's for a different episode. But I just think that, you know, yes, I can understand why people are protesting it. I personally don't think people should. And I think that by doing that, you're missing out on what is essentially, at the heart of this, a really beautiful story. Yeah.
I would just say, I do think there's something about revisionist history, though. So I think as Black people, we do have to consider it. And sometimes we can, I think to what you're saying, Auntie Sade, we can kind of always trying to give us a pass because we've had it so bad.
Yeah.
So we want to get to the next step. And sometimes we're all asked to get on board something, just get behind it, and then we'll get to the next step. I've read that Gina Prince-Bythewood, the director, did her research. She did as much as she could, and there are a few articles speaking to what she did. She's responding to the criticisms and the protests. So those are the things to explore and understand where she's coming from with the story. But I do think there has to be some acknowledgement of everybody in the room, and you can't please everyone. And if you're happy with the piece that you've made, then you have to deal with the protests and the celebratory and the support in all of it, and then just go forward. And hopefully the conversations that come out of it, because when I watched it, I was like, how many more of these do we need to understand how fucking amazing we are as black people to then be able to be more empowered and step into the better angle of who we are as black people. So, you know. Auntie AK, what have I heard?
I just need to switch the camera angle because Afia's face is not really seen
Oh, that's
the other angle. Sorry guys. Okay, I think that's better. Yeah.
So is that one just off?
Yeah. It's off, yeah.
Okay, cool. So my story is Labour MP Rupa Huq, who called a wonderful leader. What is his role? I didn't even bother.
Chancellor.
Chancellor of the Exchequer. Bro, you know when someone's so annoying, I don't even look into their
Who's the
lifestyle.
Chancellor?
The Chancellor of the Exchequer, Kwasi Kwateng, who has been fucking the economy royally, along with his homegirl Liz Truss, who's our temporary Prime Minister.
Give her 6 days.
You know what I mean? Anyway, so the whole Labour MP Rupa Huq, called Kwasi Kwarteng a superficial black man. The conversation was around whatever she was having, but she was just saying that, you know, if you listen to him on air, you wouldn't know it was him because he has been likened. His voice has been likened to Boris Johnson. However, there has been again protests against what she said. One, she's not a black woman; she's South Asian. There have been conflicts of opinion whether she had the right to say those words. Was she right to call out Kwasi Kwarteng as a superficial black man?
Okay, I'm going to pick up on this one. So there's again nuance to this. First of all, as someone who's black and Scottish, I've been told my whole life that I don't sound black enough, right? So who gets to dictate what black sounds like? Number one. Number two, if you want to criticise Kwasi Kwarteng, criticise his politics without bringing his colour or how he sounds into it, because we all know he is tanking the economy in a way that it's never been tanked before. The measures that you are bringing in are meaning that our 12 more years of Tory austerity, we're heading into a winter where people are going to die from austerity more than they ever have before because of the measures he brought in. This is the same man who said that he was going to remove the cap on bankers' bonuses and then went for cocktails with the bankers and then told them he was going to do all these things to the pound. So then they went back and made money off that. Let's focus on that without bringing in his colour or anything into it. That's where she made a mistake. No one should be able to police what sounds black and what doesn't sound black. When we want to criticise Kwasi Kwarteng, let's criticise his absolutely shocking policies. Now, I was in an Uber with a Ghanaian taxi driver, a young guy, earlier on this week, and he was like, I've seen you on TV. I don't think you should be criticising him because we as black people, we all have to stick together. I schooled him for 25 minutes on why your views are so dangerous. Because just because someone is from a village down the road from my father doesn't mean I have to support you. When you're putting in policies that means that Kwasi Kwarteng's own mother is going to be worse off this year. I said this blind faith in people who are the same skin colour as me is dangerous. Not all skin folk are kinfolk. Right? So if you're going to criticise him, which I think he needs, we don't have to focus on the fact that he's black. This is also a classist issue. He doesn't understand why what he's doing is so bad for the economy and people at the bottom because he's classist. He gave himself a 10k pay rise.
Exactly.
I've said what I've said.
I so disagree. I don't think she said anything wrong. And I've argued it with numerous people over this. I understand what she's saying. And I think black as a term is political. So I think that she can say he is superficially black. She didn't
But
say
then,
anything
what if
about
someone
his
said to me
heritage.
that I'm superficially black because
If
I
you
don't
were
sound black?
displaying superficial black tendencies, then it's for you to argue against
What's a
it.
superficial
But
black
I'm not
tendency?
offended by it. His superficial black tendencies are he is just a man with brown skin, but everything he does harms black and brown people.
But the thing is,
So
black
it-
people are
so-
not a monolith,
But
right?
to say that you're black, it is a political statement. They came up with the term black as a counter to white. It's political.
The thing
I
is,
don't think everybody understands it.
well, I was
Like
about to
that.
say,
I get why
so
that's-
it goes over their heads.
I just think like exactly what you're saying, to be honest. Like I agree with you 100%. Like, and also like who does she think she is? Because really and truly,
So
someone
do
turn around
you see him as
and
like
say
a black
that.
man? Do you think
The
He
problem
is.
is-
He
he
is
is
a
black
black
man.
man. He is
Yeah.
a black man. That's a fact. He is.
No,
That's
I
how
call him
he.
a Ghanaian.
That's how he. Well, that's you. But that's how he identifies, and that's why he's taken issue with it. That's why he's asked for apology. That's why he got it. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, like we are not a monolith. There are many. We come in different shades, different types, different views, all of that kind of stuff. So you, really and truly, what she done was a low blow, and it was absolutely racist, and she really should be fired.
My issue is when you have someone of brown skin saying something about somebody else of brown skin, it legitimizes other people to do the same. That's my issue.
My thing is, yeah, go on. Go on, finish. Sorry, finish.
Go on.
Okay. All I'm gonna say is, do we know what she meant? Did she explain?
We absolutely
No.
know what she
Here-
meant.
here-
But that's why she apologized.
Did she explain herself? Because you know what, for me,
for me, to apologise for. She didn't
That's what
apologise.
that's why I think that's why I'm saying what she said was wrong. She didn't have the right to say it. If she explained and expanded and said no, the reasons why because of his policies and she didn't. And so it's like that thing about. But yes, she can, because at the end of the day, this is one thing about us and as black folks as well. Our culture is so open for gambit. Anyone can come and join, and yeah, we're in solidarity. You take these lines, you say superficially black, thinking you're going to win over black people and get behind the Labour people, and like, yeah, you're down and you get it. No, do you know what you're talking about when you're saying superficially black? Because she said he doesn't sound black. He doesn't sound. She didn't say because of his policies hurt more black people. She didn't expand on it.
But
if you want to expand on it,
thing is-
because that's the only reason why I'm saying that if she had expanded on it, I can get behind her maybe. But at this
Exactly.
point, she didn't expand on it, so I can't get behind her.
I can't get
Oh, why
behind
not?
her because, as I said, she's legitimizing other people to do the same, right? The other reason why I can't get behind her is because if you're going to argue about this man, argue about his policies.
Exactly.
The colour of his
That's
skin has
what
got
it is.
fuck all to do with it. Boris was a dickhead all day long.
But
yeah?
can you see why
Richie
she's
said-
pointing
But
out?
she shouldn't.
No, but
Because
you don't know
it's-
those.
no, the problem
He's
is
being
because the
informed.
problem
It's
is
easy.
there are other people of different tones and different ethnicities that are suffering in the same sort of way because of the policies that he's just brought out. And there's people who are earning less. There's people who are at the lower end of the scale. What the policies that he's just brought out benefit those who are in the 1%. They
Yeah.
don't benefit us.
But don't you think
so
he is
her saying-
positioned in there specifically?
That's
as
another
a black
argument.
man.
That's another argument.
No, of course he's a plug, but my point is having advocates that don't know what they're talking about. It's no point.
Exactly.
He doesn't.
And
Because
also,
now with
what
her
it's done
apology,
is
it's just.
taken away the focus of what we should be focusing
Right.
And because what her apology is just rubbish. It's now a waste of time. We're all
Yeah.
debating. It's a waste of time.
And who-
So that's why I was like, if you don't want to
she
speak,
should have apologized.
Yeah, exactly.
If she should
My
have
point
said
is-
it with her chest
Yeah.
and stuck with it and been like, this is
That's
why.
my point.
Because he is
Yeah.
a pawn. They placed him there as a black man to ruin the economy, and people are going to be like, this has been like, you know, as soon as you had a black man in there, this is what happens. And so pointing out that he is superficially black, I think is actually very important.
No, but if she had an argument to back it, she didn't have an argument to back it.
Basically,
And
what
what happened? But
She
also,
didn't have an argument to back it.
with her friends, she might have had one black person there who said this, and she thought, you know what?
I'm
Let
gonna
me
say
go
that.
and repeat
And that's
it.
the
Who
point.
are you? Just shut up.
Yeah.
who gets to decide what is black enough for her?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Who gets to decide what signs black and what doesn't?
Exactly.
What is superficially black and what's not? It's definitely not her. She's
No.
not the one.
And yeah, have your points.
I still think I get where she was coming from.
Yeah, but
and I
you
feel
get-
like I like that it has been put out there into the world so that this now follows him around. I actually really appreciate
But it won't. I think it's not doing the job that she did because she didn't expand on it.
But nothing makes a difference, really.
No, I know, but it's a waste of time.
But
So
just actually that it's a discussion, and for people to start talking about what is seen as black.
But
people
who is
and
talking
how
about
we-
it?
How we see
But
it.
who's talking about it?
Budget.
Yeah.
What we need to talk about is what he's doing to the economy. That's what needs
No,
to
but
happen.
also it's the ramifications. But it's twofold. What he's doing to the economy is one thing.
Yeah.
What we're all going to suffer for him, the face of it, doing it, is another thing on all of our lives. I think we all wholeheartedly should be in rejection of this man on two fronts: his blackness and his politics.
I agree with that.
In rejection of him without agreeing with her.
Yeah.
Yes, maybe,
They
but
don't have to be anonymous.
Yeah.
she just I agree. She brought it to the forefront though. She said it. She said what a lot of people say about him, but she didn't back it and she apologised.
But that's
that
the
to me
problem.
is absolutely
And
the
that's
Labour
my
Party.
problem with her. Exactly. They
That's
don't
what
follow
they do all the time. But that she brought it to the forefront. I don't really like the think pieces coming from black people not actually going into. It's not that you got to back her, but what she put out there, we should all be like, he isn't part of us. He's lost his card, and that's fine. Some people can lose their card because politically he isn't black.
She should have made a better impact.
He's just a Ghanaian man
No, I just
who can't say
I
his
just
name
don't
right.
think.
All of that, that's important. He isn't actually saying his name right. He's
sorry.
allowing his name to be.
He can say it
It's
how
like
he
it's
wants
crazy.
though. He can say it.
No,
how
it's not.
he's
It's a gay
entitled.
name.
Yeah.
It's a Ghanaian name. The fact that
but
he is
that's fine.
allowing
The
it to
thing
be
is- the thing is,
westernised as
what-
well.
but
Is
what
that
we
a
have-
order?
What we have to remember in all this is that black people are not a monolith. They are not one group lumped together that vote left, that eat chicken, that go to church on Sundays. Black people are not all the same. They don't do all the same things. They don't stand for all the same things. And I think, I'm not even going to say the black community, because that's not the word I want to use. Black people, we have to understand that we are not all the same. And the fact is, he and I have absolutely nothing in common apart from the colour of our skin, but he is still black and I am still black.
Yes, I don't think so.
He's still a black.
So you grew up in Scotland.
I did.
Can you tell us what it was like in Scotland as a British, Ghanaian, Scottish woman? What was that like, and where did you go? And do you like the cold? That's my own personal question.
I hate the cold, so I don't like the cold. What was it like? It was. I don't know. I've been asked this question a lot, and it was lovely. Like, you know, we lived just outside Glasgow. Dad was a dentist. Mum was a nurse. I lived in a lovely village. Literally the only black people in the village, and then a black family moved in. I was like, how dare you?
So you like being the only black in the village?
Do you know what? Because the thing is, everybody was so friendly and lovely to us, and we just fitted in. Like, it just was what it was.
Why did you end up coming to London?
To go to uni. So I came to uni to study journalism at City.
Right.
And I remember like coming for an open day with my mum and getting off the train and being like, "It's black people everywhere. What the hell is going on?" Yeah, but I loved it. I did love going up in Scotland actually. Yeah.
That's great. So you worked at T4's Pop World.
I did.
Which is like peak youth TV.
Yes.
We all died out on that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
What was it really like working on there? And also just like, do you think that we've like lost that whole U4 TV scene forever now?
Yeah. Do you know what? Because T4 and Pop World were iconic
Yes.
peak levels of TV, right? And I loved watching it, and I loved working on it. Working on it was, I mean, I started off as a junior runner, which is like the lowest of the low.
The tea person.
Yeah, below the
tea person.
I got tea for the tea person.
Oh my god.
Like, that's what it was. And there was a lot of getting dry cleaning and getting people's breakfast and stuff like that. But then I got to go on shoots and when they used to film the series, and like Usher would be there, and like that rapper that used to rap really, really fast. Twister, like all these people, and it was
get a point for that.
Thanks, yeah, and it was incredible. And literally, I was the only black person on crew apart from Makita, and then we had Shirley, who was this lovely Ghanaian lady that was a production manager.
Right.
It was so much fun. It was as fun as you think it's going to be,
Oh,
plus
wow.
100.
Oh,
It was
that's
really, really
amazing.
good. It was really good.
Do you think that we're never going to have those days again?
Ever.
I think it's
No.
gone.
No, because I think, like, pre the recession in 2008, so long ago, we used to spend so much money to make TV.
Yeah.
And those days have completely gone. but I mean like the riders that people would have and how much money would spend on production has completely gone. I think the way we make TV has changed as well. So I don't think we'll ever have that level of like peak Saturday morning TV again.
People
but it
used to
was
just have champagne for fun.
honestly
Just being just
If you had a rider where you could have anything, you would just
literally
be like,
ridiculous.
but it was so good. I loved it.
And you was also like editorial assistant at Black Hair magazine, moving to become the editor.
Yeah.
Tell us about your time there and your motivation at the time and what your career aspirations were.
So Black Hair magazine was a funny one. I think I was working like in a shop or something. Yeah, I was. And like freelancing for a magazine, and I saw the job came up and I was like, never gonna get it, but I'm just gonna apply anyway. And I remember going into the office and there was not a single black face in the office. Not one.
Wait, what?
Sorry, no, I've told a lie. There was a girl called Holly who did
this
sales.
is news.
Yeah.
So the editor at the time wasn't black. There was not a black member of staff working on the magazine in editorial.
I
Right?
feel like
I
did not know that.
Yeah, I was the first.
I
I
knew
was the
that.
first
Okay.
one.
Yeah.
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 And I remember going in and I had to do an interview and then I had to do a presentation about a feature that I would do, and literally got offered the job on the spot. And I remember my first day sitting down with the editor, Jane, lovely woman, white, lovely woman, and just being like, so what we're going to do is all these adverts for skin bleaching, we're just going to get rid of all of them. We're not doing that. That product doesn't work for black hair, neither does that product. This feature is nonsense. I don't know what you're saying in this feature. You're a lovely woman, but you haven't really got a clue. So what I'm going to do is I'm just gonna redo the whole magazine from scratch and write about what black women actually want to put on their hair and on their face. What do you think? And she was just like, ah. But she was wonderful because she received it. It was like, you know, I've worked on this magazine for years, but they're very receptive of that. And then my editor got pregnant, and I remember my publisher having a meeting, and she was like, oh, you know, perhaps we'd like you to sit in to the with the interviews of people who would potentially be the editor. And I was a bit cheeky, and I was like, yeah, you can interview people, but I think it should probably be me. And she was like,
well done.
Okay, it's fine. So we did interview like 4 or 5 people, and then she was like, yeah, it's you. It should be you. And then I was editor for maybe 2 or 3 years, and I loved it. Like, you know, directing the covers and just having the ownership and autonomy over this publication and this piece of work was incredible. And I would get such a buzz every time it would come out and be on the newsstands and everything. So yeah, it was a great place to work. I loved it.
Amazing. From TV to editorial, you made the return to TV working at ABN.
I did.
Which is a broadcast platform delivering content mostly from an African audience, or African perspective, to an African audience widely in the majority, and putting yourself at the forefront as a presenter.
Yes, I did do that.
Good creator. And you're on the radio championing Afrobeat.
I was doing that.
You were doing that.
Yes.
So I remember the glory days of Ben TV and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So what was it like being in that? Because I think that there was a moment when it was so pivotal that these channels were coming through, but we also had the highs and lows of, you know, sometimes everything's shutting down and the channel playing one thing or just a blank screen. So what was it like, and actually why did you choose to be in those spaces when you could have potentially gone mainstream?
That's a good question. So firstly, what was it like? I mean, I was there at ABN Radio from the inception, so from the very first day it went on air. And I had not done presenting on radio before. And they totally took a chance on me, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. But that's a reoccurring theme in my career, that I'm very much a yes person. Someone would be like, can you edit a magazine? Yes. Can you talk about something on Good Morning? Yes. Can you present radio? Yes, I can do that. And it was incredible at that point when you, like you said, you had Ben TV, we had
OBE,
OBE, and it was great to have other channels that were kind of your rivals, and we won loads of awards, and Younger TV was around then as well. And it was brilliant. And I guess I chose to work in those spaces because you could learn so much working in a small team, and you could have so much more visibility and influence than you could perhaps at a BBC or a Sky or somewhere else, because you kind of get lost in this machine. And I don't like being lost in a machine. I like being I like to rise to the top, like put my head above the parapet. And I guess, you know, I did go for jobs at BBC and looked at stuff, but I was like, no, I want to be on air now. I don't want to be on air in 4 years. So, I'll go there.
Yeah.
And today, as you mentioned, you're on Good Morning Britain. You are on, you are on a TV show, Sustainable Energy for CNBC.
Yeah.
So you're extremely busy. What is your happy place? What brings you the most joy?
Oh my god, what brings me the most joy? I'm so boring because I'm really old. So what brings me the most joy is sitting on my sofa, with a bag of popcorn and just a little glass of wine and my husband rubbing my feet because I'm just so dry as a
That's
human.
not dry.
That's not dry.
That's
It's
It's just like literally my favourite thing in the world. And hopefully I'll be there around 6:36 this evening.
There we go.
Yeah.
Your daughter popping you grapes.
Oh yeah, listing with Evian. She actually did because she went to France with her dad and bought back Evian face mist in a can.
Oh,
So one day she actually did when I was sitting there. She was like misting, and I was like, "This is the dream. I've won at life." Yeah, that's that.
I love that. They're super cute. Okay, so have you ever come up against like racism, like felt like you'd been held back because you're a black woman?
All the time.
All the way here.
And what's the biggest challenges? How do you deal with it as well? What's your tips?
How do you deal with it? Just don't take it on because it's their issue, it's not yours. You cannot afford to get into the overthinking of why this person's saying this about me, why this person has this opinion of me. I always try and say to myself that other people's opinions of me are none of my business. So you just can't afford to take it on, because if I took on all the things that people have thought and said about me, then I wouldn't have done any of the things I've done. I remember one of the most hurtful times was when I was working at Arise News, which is an African news channel that I still do some stuff for now. And they first got me on as like a talking head, like reviewing the papers at like literally 2 a.m. The show was from 2 till 3.
Oh my god.
But I really wanted to get back into doing TV and doing on-air stuff, and it was an opportunity that came up, so I was like, I'm gonna do it. It's a means to an end. I remember there was a producer there, a dark-skinned woman, who said to me, they never put you on air during the day. It's not gonna happen because you're too dark.
Oh.
So they'll keep you in the nighttime hours, but don't have any ambitions of going on air during the day. And I was like, yo. And it was so hurtful because she was as dark as me.
Yeah.
And obviously she was projecting things that hadn't happened for her.
Yeah.
So I was like, that might be your story, sis, but it's not going to be mine. Do you know what I mean? And they did put me on air during the day. Of course they did give me my own show at one point. And I remember that was so particularly hurtful because I was like, shouldn't you want me to win? Because I want you to win.
Yeah. Shouldn't
we be on the same team? Why are you perpetuating what I know other people are thinking about me? Why should you be the person to voice it to me? And so that was a real lesson for me because it did make me, feel like I'm gonna work twice as hard. But I was like, why should you have induced that feeling in me? So from there on in, I was just like, you know what? I'm not gonna rise to anything. I'm not gonna be a part of your narrative, of your nonsense. I'm not gonna take it on, and your opinion of me is none of my business.
Wow, I think it's that's so sad. I'm so sorry that happened to you. But like, what does success look like for you? Like obviously you've been through a lot. Do you know what I mean? You've had a lot of challenges and stuff like that. So what's the end goal? What are you trying to ultimately achieve?
That's a good question. I think success for me looks like choice, right? So the choice to be able to work on different projects and work with different people and not necessarily be worrying about does that pay the bills or does that pay the bills. I think it's just about choice and what you lend your voice to, what you want to be a part of. And I think I'm getting to do that a lot more now than I ever have. Choosing to work on things, choosing not to work on things, using no more where I want to. That's powerful. Yeah, I think it's that.
Can I just ask one quick question? Because I think there will be a few people that would like to know. Like, what's it like being a black woman, always talking on royal issues?
I was just about to say
You're
just your royal moments.
Do you feel they pull you out?
Do you know what? So I've always had a real interest in the royal family and their history. I'm not a royalist by any way, shape or form. I just want people to know that I'm not a royalist. I'm just really interested in this family and their dynamics. You know, my mum was really interested in the royal family, so it's kind of sort of, you know, I like to call them like the empire mums. You know what I mean? You know, it's that kind of filtered down to me and Princess Anna and all that. And yes, actually, I've always been interested in royal reporting, and when Meghan Markle joined the royal family, they were like, black woman, royal, over here. And so, you know, in a way, you take advantage of these things. It was a way for me to talk about something that I'm really interested in and, you know, make some money off it. And being in that space is really interesting because there, as far as I know, and I could be wrong, but there isn't any other black women talking about the royal family on TV with historical fact and context. I know Dr. Sheila does a lot of stuff talking about it as well, but her angle's slightly different from mine because she's a lawyer and an activist, and less so that I am. I'm more kind of interested in the history and the politics and the dynamics as well. So it's a really interesting space to be in. Obviously, off the back of the death of the Queen, it was really busy during that period. I couldn't see my face at all or hear my voice. It was just every so often a garbled text in the middle of the night with a crown on the end. But it was super interesting because the channel that I was broadcasting for, CTV, facilitated a lot of conversations of us talking about the future of the realm and the Commonwealth and the return of the crown jewels, which I'm not sure would have been as easily and openly discussed on a BBC or a Sky. And maybe because they're Canadian and, you know, the Queen is still head of state there. And they still have a massive... Well, sorry, of course. Sorry. The King is still head of state. They still have the monarchy. But it's really interesting being a black woman in that space because there's no one else like me. But it means that I get to facilitate conversations around the royal family that other people are perhaps too scared to.
So tell us. See, when Dr. Sheila said on national television that King Charles III was a waste man because of in his marriage to Diana, what are your thoughts on that?
Now, Dr. Sheila and I have a different approach. She said what she said, but essentially I don't think she's that far off the mark because when King Charles III, Prince Charles as he was there, now we're referring to Prince Charles for the context of this conversation, was married to Diana, Princess of Wales, it was toxic on both sides. They clearly weren't healthy. And he was having a relationship with then Camilla Parker Bowles, now Queen Consort Camilla, during his whole marriage. So I get what she's saying, that he wasn't faithful. He definitely wasn't a good husband. Whether he was a good father or not remains to be seen. I'm sure Prince Harry's going to tell us about that in his autobiography.
I hope so.
But I think she has a point. I don't know if I would have said it like that, but I understand where she's coming from.
Okay, we're going to get into the deeper parts of your business now.
Oh my God.
Even deeper. So imagine the aunties that surrounded you at the party.
Okay.
You're in the kitchen and they're just coming at you with all the questions.
Okay.
My love, what's your relationship status? What's going on? Have you got a man?
I've got a man. Just married him actually about 10 minutes ago. No, in January we did our traditional. Yeah, and he rubs my feet now.
You don't want to elaborate on how, you know, anything, your brothers that can
I was just
share?
gonna say,
He has a brother who's also married. It's really annoying, isn't it?
That
He
is
has
really
some
annoying.
single friends actually.
But
The
that's
way
it.
that you said it and
Yeah.
raised your eyebrow, they're not good single friends.
Yeah, the eyebrow went left
It
and
was-
right. Actually, no.
I've seen that look. She gives that look. Yeah, no.
Yeah, no.
It's okay.
That
It's
one's
okay.
not that
Is
one.
there even one?
Yeah, she's like
One recommendation.
No, there's not. It's fine.
We can move on. We can move on.
I think we should. I think we
Moving
should.
on.
Yeah.
So you've got a daughter.
Yes.
How old is she? And what's your
10. 10. Her name's Naima.
What's
Hi,
your
Naima.
relationship like? Does she bother you?
Oh, do you know what? She is my little best friend. My broke best friend.
Oh my god. Yeah.
But for a long time it was just the two of us. I split up with her dad when she was like 2.5. So we're really close because we're girls and because for, like I said, a long time it's just the two of us. But yeah, she's a little munchkin, that one. She's not little at all, she's nearly the same height as me, which is a bit ridiculous. And now she's all about, like, she keeps telling me about her autumn aesthetic And
What?
Oh wow.
Okay.
Oh
She
wow.
pieces.
yeah, well, she's pulling pieces all the time. There's lots of screenshots from Sheen of I have a party on the 8th, Mummy. This is what I think I should be wearing. I'm like, my aesthetic when I was 10 was tartan jeans.
Mine was whatever mum said I was going to. Whatever mum said, that was my aesthetic.
Yeah, so she's there, but she's so funny.
Okay.
So funny.
Auntie Nana?
Okay. Sorry. Let me just follow on again. Does she want to follow in your footsteps? Does she want to go into media?
No. She finds what I do in equal parts impressive and embarrassing. So she has absolutely no desire to be a journalist whatsoever. But I do sometimes drag her along to shoots as my production manager, and she quite enjoys it. And I've put her on TV sometimes. But she wants to be a vet.
Oh, that's
Yeah, but specifically a vet in the north of the country or Fiji. Yes, I know. And she's going to have a big house and I'm going to live next door.
Oh yeah.
Just for babysitting.
Yeah, that's the dream, isn't
Oh.
it? Yeah, I get told.
That literally is the dream. Yeah.
What type of an auntie are you?
Oh! You'd have to probably ask kids and friends. What type of an auntie am I? I'm probably like you guys. I'm probably in everybody's business. I think like kids and friends. Whenever they come to my house, I'm like the fun mum.
Okay.
So sorry, friends. By the way, when your kids stay at my house, everybody has sweets till midnight. Just as long as everyone's alive, it's fine. So I'd like to think I'm quite fun, and also in everybody's business.
Can you tell us a time when you had to go into like auntie mode?
Oh my god! So my best friend's daughter was also called Naima, and so the two Naimas were having a sleepover.
Wait, how did you work that out?
I know,
Who had
right?
you first?
But we met after.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a pure coincidence.
Yeah, pure coincidence. And actually, they met at like a holiday club, and my best friend's Naima came out and was like, "Oh, I have a sister," and her mum was like, "I just how?" And then she was like, "I've met another Naima," so it's cute. Anyway, so the Naimas were having a sleepover, and I caught them trying to. We live on the ground floor, by the way, and they were like climbing out the window, like the ground floor window.
Oh my god!
Because they said they wanted to go to the shop for sweets. And they were quite young at this point, and I was like, you guys are joking.
Yeah.
So I had to go full mum, full auntie mode. I was like, you're now in lockdown. The pandemic has not even happened anymore in lockdown. You can't be climbing out the window. And it's not even that like they'll fall out of the window. Like, how are you just
we
women?
don't-
Exactly.
just like,
What
well,
happens when you
go
get out the window?
Then what?
Exactly.
What shop are you going to?
Exactly.
What money?
Exactly. There's so many questions.
Dramas.
They
What
haven't
are you
thought it
thinking?
through.
At all.
Oh,
Bless
my
them. They
word.
never did it again.
It's damn right.
And did you ever find out who came up with the bright idea?
Oh, it was my Naima. Clearly, the ringleader of all the things.
They'll never know.
Exactly. What you doing? When you're buzzing the door to try and get back in, it's gonna work. Oh,
my
bless. Yeah.
So obviously now we're your absolute favourite aunties.
Yeah.
So you trust us, right?
Yeah.
So we want you to tell us a secret, something that you haven't told your mum or dad.
My tattoos are real.
Oh. You're bad.
So you told her.
Dad. Yeah, I was like, they're not real.
I love that.
Yeah. My mum was like, still got it. And I was like, no, it's really, can you imagine? I went thinking that it was going to go away and it's still here, but it's fine, I've got a job, so it's okay. Yeah.
Oh
My
my
tattoos
god.
are real.
Oh, that's very
That is the lie to.
That is,
Sorry, that is like the lie to my mum when I got my nose pierced. That's like, Mum, we were just practicing. I didn't think there was an earring in it, and somehow there was.
When I got my belly button pierced, I remember I had to come home from uni, and for some reason, I don't know, I just was wearing a belly sock because I could then, and my belly button pierce was there, and my mum and dad actually had like an intervention, and they were like, "You're never going to get a job with your belly." And I was like, "It's not real though. It's just I've just stuck it on." But I was like, "Oh, fine, right?" Because me and I thought it was real. I was like, "Why did I ever do that?" As if. And then I remember when I was pregnant with Naeem, obviously you have to take it out.
Yeah.
I remember saying to my mum, I'm so annoyed I've got to take my belly button piercing out. She was like, but it's not real. I was like, yeah, I know. Wait, I mean, I've just got to take the diamonds off. Oh, I want to stop them. Yeah.
Okay,
bless them.
you little liars. Now, that was a good one. You have to now redeem yourselves.
Oh,
Make
man.
us proud.
Okay.
Because you've been proved to be a very naughty girl.
Multiple lies.
Multiple liar. Now, can you make us feel better about you? Tell us something that you're really proud of, that we will be proud of.
Oh.
Make us proud now. 'Cause we're very angry. We're very angry with you right now.
My tattoos are real? No. I don't know, I guess maybe that. I don't know.
Proudest moment, life moment.
Oh God.
Yeah, what's your proudest life moment?
I think just, this is going to sound so rubbish, but like, Naima starting school maybe? Because when you're a single mom, you're just like, we're never going to make it.
Yeah.
Like, in every which way. Financially, emotionally. And I think when she started school, I was like, she's still here.
Yeah.
Like, we've made it this far. And I think I always get really emotional around school starting, around the new school year, because I always think it's another year of progress, another year of, you know, her doing really well at school, and it's kind of like a justification of your motherhood. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that, and maybe like, I mean, the first time I saw my name in print under in an editor's letter, that was a huge moment. I remember once my dad snapping me on TV and sending it to me.
That's cute.
That's huge as well. But I think those things.
Nice, thank you. We feel better.
Yes, that's
Thank you.
About your life.
I appreciate the lies now. So, tell us something that is a family saying that you hold dear or wholeheartedly reject. Like something you've grown up hearing
Oh.
or doing.
So my mum always used to say, and she still says, tomorrow is another day. And I think, you know, when you've had a rubbish day, at the end, when you're sitting down just thinking, well, the fridge is broken and the washing machine's broken and I've broken my leg, tomorrow's another day. You know what I mean? So I always stand by that, and I always just think it reminds you that you can always start again tomorrow.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that.
It's a good one.
You carry that one on.
Yeah.
Alright, so you have your aunties at your disposal.
Yeah.
We can solve all problems.
Uh-huh.
Do you have a problem for us to solve? It's not even a do you. Like, we can solve your problems. Give
Just
us a
tell
problem to
us
solve.
now.
That's a good one. I'm not sure if you know, we've got a new Chancellor of the Exchequer.
Yeah.
What's his name? Crazy.
Yeah, he's like Kwasi or something. Anyway, if you can't solve that problem, okay, this is it. I just don't understand why. I love my husband so much, right? I just want to preface that. Why does he take his clothes off in the kitchen and then leave them on the kitchen table?
Can we take
I
it
mean,
to...
what are you doing?
No. Oh, wait.
As in changing clothes? I need
So,
more.
like, he'll say he's going for a shower, and then he'll go into the kitchen and then
that's
like
his place
take
of
his clothes off
preference.
and then go to the bathroom.
Yeah, I don't get it.
And I don't get it, because the wash basket's in the bedroom where you've come from. So why not put them in the wash basket and go straight to the shower? He goes on a detour, and then sometimes he'll like leave his jeans. And like, you know when you take them off and he looks like he's been raptured. You know what I mean?
Are you in the kitchen when he's taking his clothes off?
No, it's not a
So it's
He
not
just
like
prefers
he's
it. It's not a
doing
tantalising
I just don't know.
striptease.
Like,
No.
does he go for chicken, or I don't get it.
It must be like.
Can we ask the married woman?
Yeah.
Is the bathroom near the kitchen?
Yes, but
Okay.
so the point is, so my bedroom's here, the kitchen's like diagonally and the bathroom's there, so he's got to go on a detour to get to the bathroom. Instead of going boom, he goes boom boom, and I don't get it.
As he say, whoop, whoop.
That's the noise he makes. And then he'll come back to the bedroom and be like, oh, where's my boxes?
They're in the kitchen on the side.
Where you left them, on the dinner plate. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
It must be. I think it's a mark in the territory thing.
You think so?
Yeah, it's just like
You
this
just
is
pees
mine.
all over the
Yeah,
house.
this
Yeah.
is mine. This is
Spreading
mine.
around.
Making
Yeah.
sure that any
Maybe
man that
that's
comes
what
in,
it is.
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, if he goes and sits in the
Maybe
kitchen,
that's
I'm
what
here.
it is.
Yeah. Hello.
Like,
This is
if
mine,
a-
everybody.
yeah,
Yeah,
like, there's a
this
man
is
in this
mine.
yard.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
not giving him security, wife.
What?
What the
I
hell?
was just trying to
That's where
expand.
did you go?
It makes sense.
Just trying to expand on the situation.
So bizarre. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you could solve that for me, that'd be great.
How are you dealing with it? Maybe we can help you with that.
Take off the clothes.
Maybe
Yeah,
you
I
got
do.
a wash-
Maybe you
That's
shouldn't.
wait, what you're
Put a
doing.
wash basket in the kitchen.
That might be a
That's
good
a
idea,
solution.
actually.
That's a good one next to the washing machine, right?
Yeah, that
Or
makes
whatever
sense.
That's why he's doing it.
Maybe
He's like,
his
"Watch
hat
it."
before
Maybe
he
his is.
bought,
I'm gonna put it in the wash.
before he lived with you. Maybe he had a wash basket in the kitchen next to the washing
Maybe
machine.
it's that actually.
So
I
he's
think
just
like a
used to
habit.
So
doing
do you
that.
want a
Yeah.
wash basket in the kitchen?
No, I prefer
So then that's
it
not
in
the
bedroom.
solution.
No, you can't
Let's have a conversation.
compromise.
I was going to say, hold on, let me finish. I was going to say it's a conversation to have. But if you don't want one in there, then you put one in there, it's going to start pissing you off.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm saying it's a conversation you must have and find out why.
Maybe he
It's
used to have a
happening.
wash
Because I
basket
said
in
to
the
him
Yeah,
before,
to be
like,
like
babe,
habitual.
what happens to you?
Has explained it, what his route
and
is.
he's like, no, it's just a thing.
Yeah, I reckon he used to
Yeah.
have one in the bath
Yeah,
in the
I
kitchen.
reckon
Find out that.
And he's
Or
just
it's
used
like-
to doing it.
If you if your clothes are dirty, it being near the washing machine.
I think there's
maybe
probably
might
that.
be that.
Something
Yeah,
like
but
that.
then he doesn't put them in the washing machine.
No, no,
But
he's
then you
fine.
wouldn't because you need to sort them and you might
Yeah,
not have enough
'cause you
to load
probably
the
have
machine
the
at that
washing
point in
thing.
time.
Yeah.
It's being considerate.
Yeah.
No,
It's a conversation.
That's
please.
going
That's
too
not-
far.
That's not
No,
consideration.
it's not.
But
your
leaving
hands
on
are
the
not
side of the
round.
kitchen
You
is
can
not-
use the washing machine
that's
as well.
not
When they're
normal.
on the table, I just
Yeah, that's not
that's
good.
random.
That's disgusting.
Yeah.
I've got issues with that.
Yeah,
I mean, I've got issues with that.
that's why it's a
And
conversation.
folded up, but the folding up thing, definitely my husband does that. But in the bathroom, it's like he's just stepped out of jeans,
Yeah.
so it's perfectly,
Yeah, like grumpled
just-
it with
yeah,
the two holes
Yeah.
for their
and that
legs.
will be like
But
it's
isn't that
right in
fun,
front of the
though?
bath. Well,
I think it's fun.
but it's when you go in after because he's had to
Yeah.
step over those
Yeah,
clothes to
to go
leave,
back, and why do
and then
I
you've
step
gone
over
back in
your
and the
clothes?
jeans are perfectly there. It's like why?
Auntie Shani, no. Explain
That's
why
weird.
it's
It's
fun.
fun.
What's
How is
fun?
it fun?
Like it's
Come
just
to that,
like
see if it's fun.
What's fun?
no, but like think about like when you're a kid, right? And
Yeah.
you take off your clothes, and
When
if you
you're
can
a kid.
perfectly have them, yeah. But as adults, you have to have kid moments to enjoy.
Oh,
life.
you're saying the act of
Like if it's perfectly,
formed.
yeah. Do you
That's
know what I
fun.
mean? That's fun.
That's fun. Like
It's
one
definitely
instance.
fun.
It's like,
I have to ask him why
Your
he does it.
definition
Maybe
of
it's
fun
fun.
and mine are quite different.
every day coming home to perfectly round trousers start to be unfun.
My thing is just pick up after yourself.
Pick
That's
up
all it is.
after
I
yourself,
get
yeah.
it. You had fun taking it off.
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah.
But just pick it up now.
Yeah, I don't want to have to
Just
say
need
it.
to make it a game. Or
You need
something.
to
You might
stop
need to
doing it
gamify
for
it.
him.
I need,
Gamify
yeah.
Yeah, don't do it
gamification.
for him.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, don't take my
Yeah.
advice. I'm single, but still.
I think the basket in the kitchen is a solution.
No,
A
no,
lovely
that's a
basket that
conversation
you
first.
love. Like you could pick. Like I love
Have you got the
this
space
basket.
for a basket in the kitchen? It's annoying me,
Yes,
so that's why I'm
kind
projecting.
of.
can
There's
see.
with
Yeah.
the little place you would put it.
Yeah.
But then I bet he doesn't even put it in the basket.
But you could make it
Bless
into
him.
a game, so it'd be like
Yeah.
you try and throw it into the basket.
Each time it goes in the basket,
You get-
and
Who's
you
got time for that?
Honestly, I'm telling you.
When we talk about the infantilization
Some
of
of
men,
No, but exactly. It's not even just men.
Exactly.
I think it's a
throw
good
it.
idea. Like
Auntie
each time
Nana.
it goes into
Yeah,
the basket.
every day, so you got, and when you miss,
What does he
What
get?
happens when you miss
you're
it?
busy.
He'll want to do better. So
He
he
loses something, then he's got to give you £100.
He's
But
got
if
to
he
be on
gets
pan
it
anyway.
in, you give him a chocolate bar.
this is. I feel like aunties aren't solving stuff.
At all.
We're breaking our brand. We're
I'm
spoiling our
just
brand.
saying. I'm saying. Think about it. Think about
Think
it.
about gaming.
Think about it. You have to game chores. Serious. You're doing as hell.
You just got to do that.
No,
You just
no,
gotta do it.
Look after yourself.
you just
Exactly.
gotta
Have a
do it.
conversation about the basket.
We'll see.
That's it.
Ask him
I
if
think
that's
I'm
what
just
he
gonna have
used
a
to
grown up
do. Yeah.
conversation with it.
Did you
About
used to
a
have a
basket.
wife?
And ask him why he
in the
feels the
bath-
market's
in the kitchen?
territory. Does he feel absolutely happy? Is he
Yeah.
right? Alright, now let's move on to what's made you sad, mad and glad this week. Auntie Fia,
Ooh.
what's made you sad, mad and glad this week?
What's made me sad is, I know we've mentioned it before, that the fact that this country's going to the dogs. What has made me mad is the cold.
Yeah.
I can't even, I don't want to, and I'm not involved. And what's made me glad is Erica Badu announcing 2 shows at the
I know,
Sci-Fi
I
Centre.
saw that.
Oh,
Yeah.
For £180 ticket.
What?
My sisters were in a group trying to get it, and it's just not happening.
What?
I'm so glad that I've seen her a few times. I don't need to
Me
know.
too, but still, I was gonna.
I was excited.
Hey, my chest.
180.
Yeah.
So actually, let me revise
it's
that.
probably
So what's made me mad
different
is.
Yeah, prices.
Oh, that's unfortunate,
Yeah.
isn't
Wow.
What's made me sad is my home hasn't learned to clean up itself when I'm busy.
it? That's
I'm sick and
disappointing.
tired of that.
Yeah, yeah.
I need my flat just
I
to
can
go.
recommend an Android robot that Elon Musk has just
I
unveiled.
know, I saw it and I
Yeah.
know.
Under 20,000.
It's
Isn't it?
fine.
Under 20,000
Someone
pounds,
tweeted,
right?
I've seen this movie.
Exactly.
Well,
We've had this
Do
conversation.
you remember? Yeah,
That's my blueprint of why I'm never getting a
Yeah.
Your
robot.
house will
I
cool.
mean,
Because that's a documentary. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me just put my robotic arm back in check.
Yeah. No. iRobot, no.
No.
I'm mad that I'm scared to put my heat in. It's a concept I don't understand. I dislike it.
Yeah.
That actually putting on heating is a fearful thing right now.
Yeah.
And the situation with the Bank of England, pretending me and Auntie Farah were talking about it the other day. The Bank of England bailing out the government, that the government owns, the back and forth, the falsity,
It's
the
like that
fakeness of money.
Spider-Man meme with the two
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It's exactly
Yeah,
that.
it's that. Like,
It's that.
the world that we live in is fake, and I can't stand it, and I hate that we're succumbing to it. I want us all to rebel. One day. I'm glad that London Film Festival is about to start. I can't wait. I love it. It's exciting. It's going to be stupidly busy. I'm a mentor for the London BFI Critics Mentorship Scheme. Looking forward to meeting our mentees and taking them through the highs and lows of being a journalist on the go during London Film Festival. It's going to be fun and intense. Lots of good films. Check out the British Blacklist for a listing of all the black films.
Excellent. I'm sad that I had to do some real adulting this week, and I had to downgrade my car because I want to be able to have the money to put my heating on this winter. So it was like petrol, heating in my car, downgrade my car. So I had to say goodbye to my Mini and downgrade, so I'm sad about that. And on a more serious note, I'm sad about all the people that are dying whilst protesting women's rights in Iran.
Yeah.
I'm mad that the Western world doesn't seem to be talking as loudly about what's going on in Iran as they are in other countries and what's happening there on the whiter side of things, let's say. I am glad that it's October, not because it's cold, but because at the end of this month I will begin yet again a new journey, and I'm on a countdown and I can't wait.
Yay!
Oh, exciting.
Okay. So I am super sad. It's been a crazy week in my family. Lots of health stuff. I don't even want to go into it, but yeah, so I'm sad about that. I'm mad.
Sorry.
I thought I'd be fine, you know.
No.
But I'm mad that NHS staff are so rude, and it makes it really hard to like defend them and not want to have private healthcare.
Yeah.
But I'm super glad for you guys as well for like checking on me every day, and my sister.
Sorry.
My sister is just such an amazing woman, and she really does a lot for our family. Yeah, just thank you, and happy birthday. It was her birthday yesterday.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, I'm fine.
Well,
So yeah, no, but thank you guys.
you know, it has to be fun. I'm glad that you even came in today. Because it's a lot. We love you, Auntie Nana.
Thank you. But yeah, so thank you guys.
Love you.
Love you. Auntie Sade.
Okay, I'm sad about Iran really. What's happening there is it's just terrible. It feels like something out of like some twisted movie. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, as Auntie Farah said, I just want them to do that. It just needs to stop. Do you know what I mean? Like, and yeah, I saw something that said like until all women have rights, no women have rights. Really.
Yeah, that's
You know what I
very
mean? And,
fact.
yeah, it's very true because these things happen every couple of years. I think like it's like bubbling up in a different area, and it does affect us all ultimately. So I wish more that can be done with that. I'm mad. Well, I have so many things to be mad about.
As do we all.
I'm trying to think which one is most pressing at the moment.
You're maddest.
What am I maddest about?
Mad about being mad, man.
I'm really I'm exhausted about being mad. But I think I've just had a week of people not doing what they say they're going to do, and I'm just so sick of it. Like so sick of it. I already have like such a low tolerance anyway and a low kind of expectation level of humans in general, but they're literally pushing it into the minuses.
Actually, when you look down, I thought they're pushing it into my literal lower regions.
Like, I've had enough. Like, I just wish that people would either put caveats in what they're saying or just don't
Don't say it.
Just
Yeah.
don't say it. Just don't say you could do stuff if you can't do it. Like, please, like, just general. Yeah, there needs to be fines or something. We need to have a law. I think. I don't know. Anyway, I need to figure it out. But yeah. And I'm glad because Nigerian Independence Day yesterday. Obviously, people celebrated. Do you know what I mean? Everybody knows. Thank you so much. That I'm a very proud Nigerian woman, even though I'm probably the most British Nigerian woman you've ever come across. But I'm very proud of my country and people and our contribution to society. And also, it's the beginning of Black History Month. Do you know what I mean? In the UK, so you know, and we've got
to talk about that one day, isn't it? Black History Month, because your face was like, is it?
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. For me,
No,
and what
I get
do,
it. No, it's
like we do a lot of events for Black History Month.
Yeah.
We
you do a lot.
have a lot of celebration. Do you know what I mean? So it brings a lot of people together. We get to work with a lot of Black businesses here during this time as well. So it's always beneficial for us. So yeah,
Just to go, my face grew is just because the fact of the concept.
It's a conversation
when we do it. It's a
have
good
it every
thing.
year.
Alright guys, so then quickly we're going to do the Spotify weekly playlist. We haven't done it for a little while.
Yeah.
This is where you've got an Aunties Could Never Spotify playlist. We've got all the tunes that take our fancy of an occasion. This week, I did, what was my inspiration? I can't remember, it doesn't matter. But anyway, tunes from favourite films, like from soundtracks for your favourite films. I'm going to be on Ace's show, One Extra, on Monday, tomorrow, talking about stuff to do with film, and then that's what inspired me. So I'm going to give you my tunes. Ain't My Type of Hype, Full Force from House Party. House Party is one of my favourite films. Ain't my type of hype, baby. Your love so good. Your love so fine. Ain't my type of hype, baby.
House Party.
I know the film.
No, I only watched House Party the other day, didn't I? When was it? It was your place.
Okay, I love them.
No, but you know this.
I actually forgot.
Oh, okay.
Oh
yeah.
my
God.
Yeah, I'm confused right now.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
I've watched House Party so many
many times.
When I read it,
People
that
love
was the
it.
tune that I was immediately going to put in, and then I saw you had that as your first, and I was like, wow.
It's House Party.
But how do you not watch House Party every
Like, I'm
year?
confused.
We have to move on. Another tune is Love of My Life.
Because we're not a monolith.
Yeah, it is that.
It's not really black.
Like it's a musical tone. Love of My Life by Erica and Cohen.
love it.
Love of My
Where's
friend.
that
Brown Sugar.
Oh, I love.
I don't know if
that
we can
song
sing
so
all of them,
much.
but yes.
Do you remember
love
the time
to.
that Common sang that directly to my face at the Jazz Cafe?
Ooh.
Thank you.
He basically proposed.
Yeah, he basically did.
In Common
Well,
one of his,
he
he could have been one of his commoners.
Many
Yes.
conquests.
One of his commoners.
Yes.
Common in the
It can
commoners.
still.
Yeah.
It's
I
so
know,
true.
you're married.
This is why your husband's marvelous territory.
Yeah.
I told you about
True.
security. They doubted my point.
I did tell him that story not long after.
There you
But
go.
he said, babes, do you? It's fine. It's fine.
That's what I'm saying. And my last one is Old Time Saved by Sable for Above the Rim soundtrack. It's a bad boy tune.
Okay.
I completely missed this, so
Okay.
I'm just gonna say Boomerang soundtrack.
Okay.
There's just put it
There's
on.
bare tunes on
Pick a
there.
tune. There's bare tunes on there.
That is a good one.
Auntie Charlotte?
Same. I'm going to say the Nutty Professor soundtrack is the best soundtrack of all time.
It is one of them.
Seriously.
It is one of them.
Oh,
It's got some
okay.
bad tunes on it.
Listen to it.
Yeah, it's got
Listen
some
to
great
it.
tunes on
I
it.
can imagine.
Nutty
It's got
Professor.
Monica,
Yeah.
it's got... Okay, I don't know.
Because you wouldn't
Yeah, it's
think
got bad
it.
tunes.
But yeah, I can believe
The
it.
time
It's
Boomerang
got Touch
soundtrack.
Me, Tease Me
Yeah,
on
Touch Me,
it.
Tease Me,
Shall I
yeah.
go through
Oh,
them?
really?
I like Montage
Yeah.
on a Stick Wig.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
It's
makes
got some
sense.
bad
What was
tunes.
it? Nutty Professor. You said
Nutty
Boomerang.
Professor.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
It's a
Let's
bad
Ain't
boy
Nobody.
soundtrack. Yeah.
Last night, but
Yeah.
as yet,
I hate
Ain't
that
No
song,
Nigga.
man.
Whoa.
That's the one I
Jay-Z,
got.
sorry.
Okay.
But yeah.
It's a bad boy soundtrack, it is.
LL Cool J doing it again.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
tunes.
that's true. It's a good
Best of all
soundtrack.
I can
time.
listen to that.
Got fun.
I think mine would be
Go on.
Set It Off soundtrack.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I have
that's
Set It
a
Off
good-
in there. Don't
that's
let
a
go.
good
Yes, exactly.
one. Ooh,
I love
listening
it's
to
like
that
one of my
today.
favourite films of all time.
Yeah,
Same
absolutely.
to
In
me.
fact, I'm going to watch it tonight with my husband on
Yeah.
coffee.
Oh, no, I love Set It Off.
Yeah.
And I have, in addition, Ain't Nobody, Shaka Khan, Break Dance or Break It.
Yeah, that's, yeah, of course.
Each time I just hear the...
Yeah.
Literally, like I love that. But I only had 2 anyway.
It's fine. I mean, that's fine. We had some. And listen to our playlist on Spotify. And it's great. It's got all these great tunes on it.
Yeah.
Auntie Afua, can I just quickly ask you, before we leave, do you have an unpopular opinion you'd like to share? Or something that pisses you off? Or something that's on your hit list?
Oh, an unpopular opinion.
Or there's other things that I mentioned.
Do you know what? I don't know. Maybe. I don't have an unpopular opinion. Oof, I don't know. Do you know what really irks me as, and this is just my personal thing, that when, I know this irks you too, when it is hot, when people complain that it's hot, I can't, it makes me want to jump off the bridge.
Yeah.
Because it's hot for like 10
2 seconds.
minutes.
Yeah.
No, it's not for weeks.
And I just can't
We've had
bear
a good
it.
summer
Just,
this year.
yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
And then it
The
rains
complaints
like
stress me
day.
out.
It makes me really
The
sad.
complaints stress me out.
Yeah, me too.
Thank you. And
Yeah.
on that note, guys, thank you so much for watching Aunties Could Never. Auntie Afua, thank you for being a wonderful
Thank you.
auntie.
Oh, I keep doing the clap thing. Sorry.
We like that. No, we like that. Guys, don't forget to watch us back. The episode will drop Tuesdays at 8 p.m. We also are on all the listening platforms. You can listen to us, have us in your ears as well. Don't forget to subscribe up to our Patreon, and don't forget to leave your positive reviews. And I say positive reviews everywhere, wherever you like, everywhere. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
It was just that. It's like, what is that?
Positive reviews.
That's done.
A
Positive reviews.
That's the
great.
I don't actually know. Positive reviews. Good night, guys. Bye.